Orbita sa Llanado! Isa! Dalawa! Tatlo! Salya! Yung nasa kanang tulong, salya kayo! Salya kayo dyan! Dahil kapatid sa Llanado! Sabay sa Agos! Sabay lang sa Agos! Sige, sabay tayo sa Agos, kapatid! O, isa pa! Isa pa! Orbita! Isa! Isa! Dalawa! Tatlo! Salya! Isa! Dalawa! Tatlo!
We have on the...
Salya! Salya!
And we now have on the line our correspondent at the Quirino Grandstand, Rex Remitio. Rex, what is the latest from where you are?
So far, the morning prayer before the Traslacion has just ended. The procession of the image from the Quirino Grandstand to its home in Quiapo Church begins. Quiapo Church officials are expecting it will last for about 22 hours, just like last year. However, they're hoping it will be faster and less than 22 hours, unlike in previous years. As usual, the crowd of devotees here is incomparable to any annual gathering in the country. As of 4 in the morning, there are about more than 200,000 people here at the Quirino Grandstand. 5 million people are expected to join the entire duration of the Traslacion. When you look from atop, it's a sea of maroon and yellow. Sometimes they're waving their white towels. They're repeatedly and enthusiastically shouting, "Viva Jesus Nazareno," among others. Feel their energy, which is rooted from their undying devotion to the Black Nazarene. This despite some of them having almost no sleep, while others have camped out here since last night. We have seen people from all walks of life, ages, and social classes. Most of them are just barefoot. However, we have also seen lots of trash on the ground. This is a huge task for authorities to clean. The security is also tight. More than 9,000 police and military personnel are deployed. The Metro Manila Police say the million has nothing to worry about so far. The police have also implemented a no-fly, no-sail zone. Mobile signals are also off the entire day. Metro Manila Police Chief Guillermo Eleazar explained they are still on full alert instead of downgrading it to heightened alert. Now, residents along the route were advised to remove the obstacles on roads to make sure a smooth procession. Ambulance vendors are also not allowed. But the last time we went around, many bundles of cable wires and small flag-shaped pieces of plastic or banderitas are still unremoved. The police are also looking at critical areas such as the Jones Bridge and Quezon Bridge. This is where the crowd of devotees tend to go at the same time. Areas where there are many shanty houses and high-rise buildings are also critical. The police are also strongly advising devotees to be disciplined during the event and not to cause commotion in private gatherings. Those who will come are advised not to bring pointed objects, backpacks, and even alcohol. The police also warn of immediately arresting those who will be caught drinking alcohol or using drugs. Meanwhile, the entire procession will also be live streamed on the Facebook account of Quiapo Church. This is for those who will not be able to attend but still want to experience the Traslacion. Also, the church has no plans of disallowing devotees from jumping into the carriage to embrace and wipe their towels to the Nazarene, but officials are discouraging them from doing so to lessen the injuries, which usually go by hand. So far, the image of the Black Nazarene is already off the stage. It's now progressing here at the Quirino Grandstand, and so far, devotees are approaching the andas or the carriage where the image of the Black Nazarene is. And so that's the latest from here at the Quirino Grandstand. Leah.
All right, thank you very much. That was our Rex Remitio reporting live from the Quirino Grandstand. CNN Philippines will be monitoring this procession closely. We have our correspondents in strategic locations. They will be reporting developments in their areas throughout the day. Keep it here on CNN Philippines for the latest on Traslacion. I'm Ria Tanwat Cotrillo. We now leave you with a live feed from the Black Nazarene procession.
lubat.
Maligaya.
Atras tayo, atras!
Wednesday, January 9th. It's a new day, everyone. I'm Ria Tanuatco Tridio.
Good morning, I'm Andre Felix, and we'll keep you company until 7:30.
Hello and welcome. I'm Christine Jacobs Sandejas. A busy day. People have been up since midnight.
Or earlier. Of course, you know, what we are covering today is the Traslacion, the Feast of the Black Nazarene. And you are looking at live photos right now. It left the Carino Grandstand at around 5 in the morning. It is still within the vicinity because, as you can see, it can hardly move with the huge crowd there.
And this year, it's expected that over 5 million devotees will be there. Last year, the procession took 22 hours. So who knows, it might be over 20 hours again. You're looking at live pictures of the millions, thousands and millions of devotees from the Carino Grandstand as the Black Nazarene makes its way back to the Quiapo Church.
Yes, and it's going to be a 6.1 kilometer route. And with that, you know, with about 5 million people en route with the Black Nazarene, of course, we can expect, you know, some people would faint or some people would feel a bit dizzy. So we have invited Doc Freddy to be with us here today to talk about the health concerns that happen during the Traslacion and what can we do if in case these things happen. Of course, for those that are watching that do want to join in the Traslacion and catch them later on, since Andre said it is 22 hours, you know, you can hop on in anytime.
And of course, the Feast of the Black Nazarene is one of the most important religious activities for many devout Catholics. And to tell us more about, you know, how the celebration has evolved throughout the years, and you know, to tell us also about some questions that we have about the story about the Black Nazarene, about the Feast of the Black Nazarene, and the faith of Filipinos. Why do Filipinos just really go there every year and devote themselves to you know, going and joining the procession? We will have philosophy and theology professor Mark Calano. He will be joining us live on the set as well.
Which is also nice because there are going to be a lot of millennials that are apparently also joining the Traslacion.
That's right, hundreds of years old tradition. You know, to help us really connect and understand, you know, why people are so devoted. I mean, you just have to look at the video to see how passionate they are about this.
So stick around until 7:30 for those stories and more. Meantime, here are the morning's headlines.
Authorities say 5 million devotees are expected to join this year's Traslacion.
Of the Black Nazarene is now on its way back to Quiapo Church. The annual Traslacion officially began about an hour ago, leaving the Carino Grandstand at around 5 a.m. Rex Remitio now joins us for the latest. Rex, where exactly is the carriage now?
Well, good morning, Ria. The procession of the image of the Black Nazarene is now ongoing. It started at 9 minutes past 5 a.m. The carriage is now leaving the Carino Grandstand. It's now moving towards the Manila Hotel. The host is leading the huge crowd to shout, "Viva Poong Jesus Nazareno," as they wave their towels. You can feel their energy, which is rooted from their undying devotion to the Black Nazarene image. This despite some of them having almost no sleep, while others have camped out here since last night. We have seen people from all walks of life, ages, and social classes. Most of them are just barefoot. Some devotees are starting to jump into the carriage to embrace and wipe their towels to the Nazarene. Quiapo Church officials have no plans of disallowing devotees from doing so. However, they're discouraging them from jumping into the carriage to lessen the injuries, which usually go by hundreds. The police are also strongly advising devotees to be disciplined during the event and not to cause commotions in private gatherings. Those who will come are advised not to bring pointed objects, backpacks, and even alcohol. The police also warn of immediately arresting those who will be caught drinking alcohol or using drugs. Now, meanwhile, the entire procession will be live streamed on the Facebook account of Quiapu Church. This is for those who will not be able to attend but still want to experience the Traslacion. Quiapu Church officials are expecting it will last for about 22 hours just like last year. However, they are hoping it will be faster and less than 22 hours unlike in previous years. As usual, the crowd of devotees here has been incomparable to any annual gathering in the country. As of 4 in the morning, there are about 260,000 people at the same time at the Quirino grandstand, while for the entire duration of the Traslacion, 5 million people are expected to join. Leah.
All right, thank you very much, Rex Remitio, there with the latest on the Traslacion. Now, if you're planning to join the Traslacion, again, here are the things you cannot bring: deadly weapons, firearms, backpacks, colored canisters or water bottles, and water jugs. Authorities say your beverages should be placed inside transparent containers. A liquor ban and firecracker ban is also in effect. The area of the Traslacion is also a no-fly zone and a no-sail zone. Telco signals have also been shut off.
9 minutes past 6 o'clock. Good morning. Some roads in Manila are closed for the Feast of the Black Nazarene happening today. These include a portion of Katigbak Drive, the northbound lane of Quezon and MacArthur bridges, and a portion of Taft Avenue. Also, take a look at your screens right now. We're flashing the routes you have to avoid starting at midnight, and these include MacArthur, Jones, and also Quezon Bridge. A portion of Ross Boulevard, both lanes of Quezon Boulevard, and over 5 million devotees are expected to join the procession today. Coming up on the show, we learn more about the health concerns during the big events like the Traslacion from our resident doctor and MedTalk Health Talk host, Dr. Freddy Gomez. More stories only here on New Day. We're back after a quick break. Good morning.
We're back. Thanks for joining us. Officials discourage those with health conditions from attending the hours-long procession of the Black Nazarene image.
But if you will indeed attend the procession, we'll give you some tips on how you can survive the heat and exhaustion.
And to help us with that, we have here with us CNN Philippines resident doctor and MedTalk Health Talk host, Dr. Freddy Gomez, back on the set. Good morning, Doc Freddy. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. Good to be back. Good to be back.
Let's get right to it, Doc. Ano ba dapat yung mga dapat tandaan, gawin ng ating mga deboto as we see earlier live pictures at the Quirino Grandstand, thousands and even millions expected to join the procession. Ano yung mga dapat nila kailangan tandaan at gawin?
And mind you, it's like 22-hour procession.
Yes,
right.
Sa procession.
So anything like this, if you definitely have to be there para sa mga deboto natin ng Black Nazarene, ganitong mga massive crowds, you always want to make sure that you're well hydrated because like what Christine said, this is going to be a long procession. You're going to be out in the elements, out under the sun, maybe it might even rain. So maraming elemento ang nagiging factors dyan. So you want to be prepared, you want to stay hydrated. One of these things sa mga massive crowds na ganito, a lot of people think that maybe disease may be easily transmitted, especially ngayon, maraming masipon. Mahatsingan ka lang ng isang deboto dyan, pwede ka nang mahawa. But a lot of incidents ng massive crowds, the more concern are injuries actually, physical injuries, lacerations, bruises. And once the procession starts, this is, alalahan natin, this is one collective being when it comes to massive crowds like these. So you want to be prepared. You want to know the route actually. So if you can avoid certain parts of the route na medyo choke point, like I see there's one image there on the TV where it corners a little bit. You want to stay away from areas like that because yan yung magkaka-maximum siksikan ng mga tao.
Bottleneck sila.
Yes.
All right.
Oo.
Well, a lot of people, as you mentioned, it's like mostly the injuries, I guess people jumping on and off, di ba?
Yes, yes.
The carriage, what else?
I guess
Sprains, I guess.
sprains and it's not just the injuries, but what we don't want to happen, and I encourage all the devotees who are going there is please be calm. A stampede or just panic can happen in massive crowds like these. So avoid bringing any loud noise, firecrackers, or anything that might startle a big bunch of people, because once a stampede starts, it's very hard to stop.
That's right, that's right. And Doc, just in case there is some kind of panic that breaks out for whatever reason, what is the best way, participants who are in this procession can actually protect themselves?
Well, to protect themselves, again, like what I said, know the route. You want to avoid certain choke points. You want to be away from areas like that when something unfortunate like a stampede happens. And if you see a crowd going towards you, you do not want to try to go against or away from
if
it.
you see that, you already see like a wave of people, how it just sways left and right, and it's just so hard.
That is what I was talking about. It becomes one collective group.
Mass.
It becomes one mass. That's right, Christine. And I encourage those. I know there are a lot of devotees out there who are senior citizens who just have to show the love for the Black Nazarene. But in certain situations like this, if you can avoid it, the senior citizens and yung mga bata, wag na natin sigurong dalhin sa procession to avoid any risk.
Right. Doc, yung isa pang aspeto ng procession na to is yung mga devotees ay nakapaa, right? Because that's part of their vow of sacrifice and thanksgiving to the Black Nazarene. What advice can you give participants who are barefoot?
Well, with those who are barefoot, it's pretty much protective just for any type. So you are susceptible to certain diseases. This is out in the open. This is out in the streets. Be careful of any slippery substances, obviously over there. When everything is over, make sure to wash your feet very well to avoid bringing any diseases that might be on your feet, bring it to your home or anything like that.
Okay, for those attending the procession, what happens if you are attending the procession and all of a sudden you experience some sort of shortness of breath or difficulty in breathing? What's the first thing that they should do?
Okay, so things like that are not uncommon. So when you're in a big crowd like this, dehydration can set in. Minsan baka maging heat stroke pa yan. So ayaw mangyari yan. The moment na maramdaman yung the moment na maramdaman yung nahihilo kayo or alanganin ang sitwasyon ninyo, try to pull away from the crowd as soon as possible. And as much as possible, if you really have to be there, do not be there alone. Try to be there with a companion who isn't extremely young or extremely old as well.
Someone strong that can help you.
Yes. Doc, dun sa mga may existing naman nakakamdaman, ano nung dapat nilang alalahanan as they join the procession and join thousands of people?
Well, dun sa may mga karamdaman, dun sa may mga heart problems, or dun sa may asthma, difficulty huminga, as much as possible, I think the mere presence, or even if you're around the vicinity, shows your devotion already. You try to avoid being in the heat of the crowd mismo, because anything like this can easily trigger the heat of being in such a crowd. You have to also imagine yung mga tao, kung let's say naglalakad kayo doon, presko, January ngayon, malamig, once you're in that crowd, the heat can be really exhausting. Yung body heat ng lahat ng mga taong kumpul-kumpul can rise up to probably around 38-40 degrees Celsius, which is already very, very hot. Parang hot summer's day na yan. So, if you have an existing heart condition, pwedeng maging mas malala pa yan. So, avoid that crowd that we see on TV.
Even people going over each other. And
well, I guess it's also hard because it's like a beacon. Everybody's just going towards one particular, statue. I guess maybe the best thing would really to take note of. I know there's a lot of volunteers along the way. Philippine Red Cross is also, in certain points. So once you know that, directly you'll know where to go to, right?
Right. But I'd like to just encourage the people to be mindful, even though the Red Cross is there, so many people are there to help. You also want to do your part to sort of avoid being at risk or being at harm's way as well.
Thank you again, Doc, for being on the show and for helping us out, giving us tips, especially for the devotees of the Black Nazarene. Thank you again, Dr. Freddy Gomez, CNN Philippines resident, doctor and MedTalk Health Talk host, Dr. Freddy Gomez.
Good morning and welcome back. I'm Ria Tanwat Cotrilla. Our top story. The image of the Black Nazarene is now on its way back to Quiapo Church. The annual Traslacion officially began about an hour ago, leaving the Quirino Grandstand at about 5 a.m. Authorities are expecting some 3 to 5 million devotees in this year's Traslacion. They also say it may take around 22 hours to complete the 6-kilometer route, just as it did last year. If you are planning to join the Traslacion, here are the things you cannot bring: deadly weapons, firearms, backpacks, colored canisters, or water bottles, and water jugs. Authorities say your beverages should be placed inside transparent containers. A liquor ban and firecracker ban is also in effect. The area of the Traslacion is also a no-fly zone and a no-sail zone. Telco signals are also shut off.
The image of the Black Nazarene will go from the Quirino Grandstand all the way back to the Quiapo Church. Cheska Buencamino tells us the route the image will take.
Millions of Black Nazarene devotees are expected to join this year's Traslacion as part of their panata or vow. Authorities say as early as 5 a.m. of January 9th, the procession, which covers a 6.1-kilometer route, will kick off from Quirino Grandstand. From there, it will turn right to Katikbak Drive, onto the westbound lane of P. Burgos, then straight to Jones Bridge. It will then turn right to Dasmariñas, another right to Plaza Santa Cruz, left on Palanca Street, onto Quezon Boulevard, and right on Arlegui Street. The procession will then proceed to Fraternal Street, right to Vergara, onto Duque de Alba, left on Castillejos and Farnesio Streets, and will pass through again on Arlegui until it reaches Nepomuceno. The andas carrying the image will then turn left on Aguila Street, right on Carcer, onto Hidalgo, Plaza del Carmen, Bilibid Viejo, straight to Puyat, left on Guzman, Hidalgo, and Bautista Streets until Globo de Oro. From there, it will turn right on Palanca Street, another right to Villalobos Street, straight to Plaza Miranda, all the way to its final destination, the Quiapo Church. Last year, it took about 22 hours before the image of the Black Nazarene was safely transferred to Quiapo Church. Back to you.
The procession of the Black Nazarene is one of the most important religious activities for Filipino Catholics.
Now, how did this practice start and how has the celebration evolved over the years?
To tell us more, we now speak to philosophy and theology professor Mark Calano from the Ateneo de Manila University. Good morning, Sir Mark. Welcome to New Day here on CNN Philippines. Let's talk about the procession of the Black Nazarene, or Traslacion, as we see, of course, at the Quirino Grandstand, now moving to the Quiapo Church. Each year, the event draws millions, and this year expected to be over 5 million people, and devotees will participate in the Traslacion. Now, over the years, how would you describe the faith of many Filipino devout Catholics, and do you think it has gotten stronger and even more more people are drawn to the Black Nazarene?
It's so important to look at how Catholic faith is changing, especially in the Philippine landscape. But what we see very clearly here is a stronger and a stronger manifestation of the Filipino desire to actually encounter their God, no? And that's what we see in the expression of this religious devotion. Through the years, it has changed a lot, for sure. No? We see photos in the 1930s of people falling in line in a very organized way as they procession and celebrate the Feast of the Traslacion. And starting 1980s, we've seen a rather unique expression of the devotion as it has become a little bit more rowdy from our perspective. But more and more, a lot of sociologists are recognizing a little order for those who participate in the devotion.
So you mentioned the feast of the Traslacion. So just to clarify, today is the feast of the Traslacion, not the feast of the Black Nazarene, which started when the year began, correct?
Yes. When we say it's the feast of the Traslacion, what we're celebrating really is the transfer of the image from Intramuros, which is the Church of Saint Nicholas of Tolentino of the Recoletos, and to outside the walls. And it's like a celebration of the handing down of the image from the Spanish authorities Intramuros to the Filipino people. And I think that's also the reason why of all the celebrations that we have all over the country, the celebration of the Black Nazarene takes a very peculiar form precisely because it has been handed down to us. Not only is it transferred, it's also translated to us, and therefore we translate it into things that are sensible to us.
But what is it about the Black Nazarene? We have seen an amazing phenomena of the millions of people that keeps growing each year. Now millennials and younger generation are also participating in the Traslacion activity. What do you think is it about the Black Nazarene that attracts a lot of people?
Even now the youth.
That's why
For one, the image of the Black Nazarene has been with us for a very long time, and therefore has been part of the everyday routine and life of so many Filipinos. Thousands of Filipinos flock through the Basilica every day, and you'd see that it has become part of our everyday encounter.
But when they do, they all say, you know, has answered my prayer because I have a devotee. Now, you know, I have jobs and all of these. I mean, it is very strong and real to these people.
What we see actually is an interior manifestation of a desire, and that's what we call it a panata, precisely because it's a vow, it's a promise over something that has been received or over something that's being asked for, and this panata has been transferred. In fact, it's even inherited by the young. That's why you see very many young people participating in the Traslacion every year, because you see how panata is not only appropriated, it's also inherited.
That's right. So if your family has a statue, for example, you end up, you know, handing that down to the lower generation so they can take care of it as well. But you know, for those who are not so familiar with the history of the Black Nazarene, how did this devotion begin? Was it because it was given to the Filipinos? Was it because devotees experienced miracles with it? What was really the root of that?
For one, we understand that the image has been brought through to us via Mexico, and because of that, people started to understand colonial faith, whether we like it or not. And through the years, though, this colonial faith started to make sense to our Filipino. For one, the image itself represents a Christ that's standing up after a fall. No, many would say burdened by the cross, but a lot of my ethnographic interviews through the years have told me that these people never really understood it as loss over the cross, but as standing up after a fall.
Right.
And a lot of Filipinos, I think, recognize their faith expression captured by that, and that's the reason why in our everyday struggles for life and things like that, the image speaks to us and speaks our everyday encounters.
Actually, like Manila Archbishop Luis Antonio Cardinal Tagle, in his homily, he says the devotion is embracing God and others in real love, and it actually takes one devotee to actually understand this whole devotion process. But how do we differentiate? I know a lot of people are also saying, is it close to being idolatrous? Is it becoming like fanaticism, or how do we define and explain all of this?
Yeah. So first, we need to understand that devotion is a microcosm of the real it's a real expression of our Filipino society, and what we see here is an expression of the laborers, manggagawa. It is not accidental that the hijos are also called mamamasan, which is therefore labor per se. If the Filipinos were a rich country, our expression of faith won't be in terms of manual labor like this one. But this is labor-intensive devotion. People step on each other.
This is
People
incredible.
carry each other.
They literally
people
pull it with ropes.
pull it with ropes, yes. But it's not idolatry, as we explain in Catholic theology, because people are aware that there's just no one statue. Faith, whether we like it or not, is always material. The late Francisco Claver did tell us that for theologians, it would have made sense if we are speaking of it in terms of ideas and concepts and things like that. But for Filipinos, we speak in terms of paño and tuwalya. Punas, diba? So we need to understand that is the concrete expression of our faith, and it's a concrete expression of our encounter with faith. It's not fanaticism, because the concern is not oneself. The concern is always the desire to encounter Christ, the desire to encounter their
And
God.
people have their own journey and how they discover
Personal
and encounter
journeys,
God.
yes.
Right, and they do pray to the Nazareno with or without a statue in front of them.
Yes.
And you think the Filipino faith, of course, to the Black Nazarene will continue to be stronger and stronger in the coming years and generations to come, right?
A few years ago, there were only 8 million participants. Last year, we counted 12 million. I'm like putting it at 15 million right now. And that's from day
That's what you're saying,
one,
from day one
until day 9.
Yeah.
So you can just see it's very difficult to arrive at a number because people come in and go. The very desire is to touch the encounter, and then they touch the statue and to move out. So you can just imagine the whole day, for 22 hours, people come in and go out, and that's how many people there are there.
All right. Well, wonderful. Thank you so much for clearing so many questions that we have.
Thank you.
That was Philosophy and Theology Professor Mark Calano. And we bring you more stories. We'll check on the latest situation on the procession of the Black Nazarene image that's on its way back to Quiapo Church.
And you are back with us on CNN Philippines. I'm Ria Tanwatco Trillo.
Good morning again. I'm Andre Felix.
And this is New Day on CNN Philippines, where the news comes first. I'm Christine Jacobson-Dejas.
Speaking of news, we have a lot in store for our viewers in the next half hour. Again, we are looking at the Traslacion today, the Traslacion of the Black Nazarene. It is moving from Quirino Grandstand all the way back to Quiapo Church, and you are looking at live images of that happening right now.
Okay, well, so far, no classes, or classes are suspended in Manila, and Quezon City has suspended classes as well. And I know Quezon City is also deployed, a rescue and fire trucks just in case anything would happen.
Absolutely. There are about, almost 7,000 policemen deployed by the PNP today to make sure things are in order and everybody, is safe.
And you did mention there's no fly zone, no sail zone.
Signal is also off, telecommunication.
You've been trying to call, earlier, and you haven't been able to get through.
That's right. And we are expecting again and again, we keep on saying it, over 5 million people to be joining the Traslacion today. Last year, it did run for 22 hours. Right now, we're taking a look at live pictures of where the procession is at. Of course, the Black Nazarene making its way back to the Quiapo Church.
The annual Traslacion officially began about 2 hours ago, leaving the Quirino Grandstand at around 5 a.m. Rex Remito now joins us for the latest. Rex, can you tell us where the image is right now?
The carriage of the image of the Black Nazarene is now on Katigbak Drive. It's in front of the Manila Hotel, and the procession that past 9 minutes past 5 in the morning. It's still ongoing, and Quiapo Church officials are expecting it will last for about 22 hours, just like last year, but they're hoping it will get faster. Actually, the start of the procession of the image of the Black Nazarene fast and early than the previous years. I've seen it event for like 7 years, and it started at around 7 in the morning, or even as late as 8 in the morning. It started at 5 in the morning. Quiapo Church officials are on track to their target of having it finished by less than 22 hours. And the host has been leading the huge crowd to shout the Viva Poong Jesus Nazareno as they wave their white flag. You can feel which is rooted in devotion and faith to the Black Nazarene. Some of them having almost sleep, while others night, but the dust settled, lots of trash scattered all over. The local government of Manila getting all the trash and cleaning the place. Also, now seeing some devotees jumping into the carriage to wipe their towels to the Nazarene, to the image of the Black Nazarene. Quiapo officials have no plan for this. Devotees from jumping into the carriage, urging them from doing so to lessen the injuries, which usually go by hundreds. Those devotees who will still come are advised not to bring objects, backpacks, and even alcohol. Advised to be disciplined during the event. They're also warned not to cause commotion in private gatherings, and they're also warning because drinking alcohol or using drugs that they are arrested.
All right, Rex Remigio there with the latest on the Traslacion. Environment group Eco Waste Coalition appeals for a trashless commemoration of the Feast of the Black Nazarene. To tell us more about that, we are joined on the line by Eco Waste Coalition National Director Eileen Lucero. Good morning. Thanks for taking our call.
Good morning, Ria, and all the watchers and listeners from CNN Newsday.
Could you give us an idea, our viewers an idea, of how many tons of garbage were generated during the Traslacion in the past years?
In the past years, there are all over around 5 to 10 trucks of garbage are being hauled at the end of a Traslacion over Metro Manila. That would be from Rizal Park and within the vicinity of the Quiapo Church, where the procession is being held.
Okay, so that is a huge amount of garbage to be collected over just a few number of days. How can we improve this situation? Do the organizers, have they not put up enough trash bags, trash cans? What can be done?
Actually, for the organizers' part, they have already, for several years, they have already reminded the people with so much signages, reminding them not to litter and to do their own waste segregation. And but then the people, especially the devotees, are very much not into the discipline of having it stick and span attitude. So usually most of the waste that being collected are plastic, styrofoam, and this is because of the fact that the public are not advised to have their backpacks, so they rely mostly on the vendors, what is being sold by the vendors and what is being donated by the community foods. And so this time, to lessen the amount of trash that we are projecting for the end of the Traslacion, is that we are calling on the vendors and also those politicians and those who would make donations, food donations, to have it in not to be packed in plastics and styrofoam, so that it would be much lesser.
Okay, thank you very much, Eco Waste Coalition National Coordinator Eileen Lucero. Thousands of devotees attended the Midnight Fiesta Mass to welcome the day of the Traslacion at Quirino Grandstand in Manila. The Manila police say at least 95,000 devotees were present during the Mass. Songs of praise and worship enveloped the entire Quirino Grandstand complex. The Mass was presided by Quiapo Church Rector Monsignor Hernando Coronel, while Manila Archbishop Luis Antonio Cardinal Tagle delivered the homily. About 100 priests were also around to help distribute communion. communion. During his homily, Cardinal Tagle praised the unwavering devotion of Filipinos to the Black Nazarene. The traditional pahalik continued while the Mass was happening. Even after midnight, hundreds patiently waited for their turn to touch and kiss the image of the Black Nazarene. Before we go, every year, millions of Filipinos join the procession of the Black Nazarene. The goals: to see the image of the Black Nazarene, hold the rope pulling it, or touch it. But why do devotees do this? Joyce Ilas talked to some of them.
Eugenio Honco has been a Black Nazarene devotee for more than 60 years. Every year for about 5 decades, he would join the Traslacion and help carry the Black Nazarene or pull its carriage. He believes the icon has been miraculous for him and his family.
Tulad nung ma-aksidente ko yung anak ko, siya nagpapaandar ng motor, ako nakaangkas, umislide kami. Nung kapain ko yung tuhod ko gusto yung buto. Siya walang disgrasya. Pero parang walang anuman. Yun, gano'n lang, wala akong naramdaman sakit.
But Honco, now president of the Hijos del Nazareno Central, says the devotion should go beyond joining the Traslacion, pulling the carriage rope, or touching its clothes. Honco says it should also reflect in the devotee's daily life.
Kasi yung devotion, hindi naman sinabi na pag may hiniling ka sa kanya, pumasang ka eh. Nasa sa paglilingkod, o kaya maski hindi ka naglilingkod, yung bang ano mo sa kanya sa araw na nobinaryo niya, siyam na araw ka nagdonibina, tapos tumatanggap ka ng komunyon.
Martin Sumang has been disabled for 2 decades now due to a spinal injury. But this is not a hindrance to his devotion to the Black Nazarene. Sumang does not join the Traslacion, but he always prays and attends Mass in Quiapo.
Yung pagdarasal lang, ayos na yun. Bukod sa kalooban mo magdasal, kahit na misa ka lang magdasal, matatanggal yung ano mo.
Sumang believes his personal relationship with the Black Nazarene still brought miracles to his life.
Nagkaroon ako ng ano rito sa Tagaliran, yung bukol na malaki. Pa-opera ko sana. Sa pagdarasal ko, nawala yung ano.
Quiapo Church Rector Ding Coronel explains the tradition of touching the Black Nazarene's clothes was inspired by the Bible.
Si Jesus ay hahawakan yung mata mo, yung labi mo, yung tenga mo. Yung iba naman, hinawakan yung laylayan niya.
But he was quick to add, the Bible also tells of a story of a man who need not touch Jesus just to be healed by him.
Yung sundalong kapitan taga-Roma ay yung malayuan yun, yung long distance healing. Panginoon, hindi ako karapat-dapat na magpatuloy ikaw sa aking bahay. Pero pinagaling niya yung alipin sa malayo. Pwede naman yun.
Like Honco and Sumang, Coronel reminds faithfuls that what's important most is the depth and sincerity of one's belief to Jesus Christ and how this is shown in his or her life. Joyce Ilas, CNN Philippines.
All right, we will be continuing to monitor the Traslacion today. We'll be letting you know what's happening and where it is throughout the day.
So stay tuned to CNN Philippines for the coverage of Traslacion 2019.
And with that, that's it for us this Wednesday. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Christine Jacobson-Dejas.
New Day is back tomorrow at 6 on the dot. Good morning, I'm Andre Felix.
And I'm Ria Tanmat Cotrillo. Enjoy your morning. Have a great day.
Welcome to The Source, where we combine the headlines with in-depth conversations with the newsmakers themselves. Today on the program, an expression of faith. A sea of humanity devoted to the Black Nazarene.
Nahulog ako dyan. Nabuhay pa ako ulit. Lagi lang ako umihipo, nagdadasal na sana gumaling ako. After 1 month, gumaling din ako.
Saan din kasi ako dati? Sa ulcer. Ayun, pumasan na lang ako ng pumasan sa kanya tuwing may okasyon. Yun, gumaling naman ako.
A tradition showing Filipinos' intense devotion that grows through generations.
Personally, then, most of the devotees, because they are devoted, it's simple, but there's a connection, there's a relationship on a very deep one with the Nazareno.
We get to know the history, the miracles, and stories of gratitude and passion in the annual Traslacion. Monsignor Sabino Venco joins us live. Thank you for joining us. I'm Pinky Webb. Hundreds of thousands of Filipinos show their devotion to the Black Nazarene as they participate in the annual Traslacion. The devotees joined the whole-day procession in Manila streets to honor the Black Nazarene, or Nuestro Padre Jesus Nazareno. What's the story behind the devotion and the miracles attributed to the Black Nazarene? Let's go straight to the source of the story, professor at the Ateneo Loyola School of Theology, Monsignor Sabino Venco Jr. Monsignor, good to have you again.
Thank you,
Happy
and
New Year
magandang
to you.
umaga po. Happy New Year.
Happy 2019 pa rin. So, Monsignor, let's go to this story of yours that you actually went to Mexico about, what, 10 years ago?
Yes.
To
make research specifically about a Blessed Mother coming from Mexico, and as in the form of Our Lady of Antipolo, the wood used. And the same with Del Carmen. And the Nazareno of Quiapo. They all came from Mexico, made from the wood of mestice. That is a common Mexican tree, almost like our camachile. It's a desert tree, and very not so tough, not so soft, just right for sculpture, for wood carving. And many of the religious artifacts, I found out, utilize this wood, and we in the Philippines have been the beneficiaries of this particular art from Mexico.
So you're saying that Our Lady of Antipolo, is that correct, Monsignor?
Yes.
The Black Nazarene.
The Black Nazarene and Del Carmen.
Del Carmen.
Here in San Sebastian.
They're all the wood coming from Mexico is called mestice.
Mestice.
So what is the story behind what is being told or believed that the Black Nazarene came from Acapulco, Mexico, coming to the shores of the Philippines, but it being burned, hence the itim na Nazareno?
It is darkened. This is true sociologically, that if people are not given the right stories and explanations, nature abhors vacuum. They will come up with their own speculative explanations. And the fire aboard, the transporting ship, that is always a very handy explanation. But there's no truth to that.
Absolutely no truth.
No truth.
So what do you say to the people who possibly believe that, it was burned at some point prior to making it to the Philippines? What do you say to them?
Well, we simply tell them, actually, the Black Nazarene has been black from the very beginning, and that is the original color because of the wood used. Simple. And the people will accept that. Because if you point out, our Blessed Mother in Antipolo has the same color, and the Del Carmen in San Sebastian has the same color, they all did not get burned.
But was it important for you to actually find out the truth there? Regarding...
Well, actually, that's only one item I had to go into. My general interest was to track down many of our practices as originating from Mexico and not from Spain.
Such as?
And for example, the devotion to the Black Nazarene, our Misa de Gallo, the novenarios that we used to have, and many of our traditional practices, they have been tested beforehand by the missionaries in Mexico and then transported over here, extended to the Philippines, so to say.
It's as if we inherited them from Mexico.
Yes, coming from the same Spanish parenthood, so to say.
So what else did you find out? So the wood used is called mestice, and I understand you were saying that the Feast of the Black Nazarene is not really on January 9. Is that true?
Oh, yes. Thank you for bringing that up, because I personally believe this must be discussed, and we must do something about it. The Black Nazarene very obviously refers to something, to the passion of our Lord, and liturgically in the rhythm of church worship that falls within the period of Lent, the Holy Week in particular. And our celebration of January the 9th refers back to a historical event, not to the religious feast, but to a event that took place in 1767, when the Recoleto fathers from the parish of San Nicolas de Tolentino in Intramuros handed over, or shall we say, surrendered to the Archbishop of Manila, Basilio Sancho, the image of the Black Nazarene. So it was on that date that the historic transfer, ownership, so to say, of the Black Nazarene from the original owners, the Recoletos, came into the possession of the Archbishop, who ordered that it be brought to the parish of San Juan Bautista in Quiapo. Quiapo then, a suburb of Manila, formerly a barangay of Santa Ana. People do not know that Santa Ana was the original parish town under the Franciscans. And one of their visitas barangays was Quiapo. And it was only in 1588 that Quiapo became a parish.
But there is a church in Santa Ana.
Oh, yes.
It's called the...
Our Lady of the Abandoned.
Abandoned, that's it, yeah. So January 9 marks the date that the statue of the Black Nazarene was transferred from Recoletos to Quiapo.
Quiapo, under the authority, therefore, of the Archbishop of Manila. And that was a very big happening. Do you know why? Because prior to that, for 150 years, the Black Nazarene was a very, very powerful icon in Intramuros under the care of the Recoletos. And the devotion around the Black Nazarene then centers on the Fridays of the season of Lent. Every Friday during the season of Lent, people would be flocking to San Nicolas de Tolentino.
So we're not just talking about Good Friday, we're talking about the season of Lent every Friday.
Every Friday.
Okay.
Then you get people flocking there. And it was in that connection that actually Pope Innocent X erected an Arch Confraternity, a big organization with the authorization from the Pope, no less. And that simply indicated to us that the Black Nazarene in Intramuros, under the care of the Recoletos, was not only religiously a powerful image to the people, but it was also one of the richest organizations during that period. And something happened, something intervened that made the transfer necessary.
Wasn't it an earthquake?
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Wow, you have the historical sense for it. Because in actually in 1645 there is the San Andres earthquake, and then in 1658 San Bernardo earthquake, and that demolished the beautiful church of San Nicolas de Tolentino.
But how was the image of the Black Nazarene?
There, the image was preserved, but the people now could not continue anymore with the popular devotion to the Nazareno.
And so it was transferred.
And so there was a move, because it almost lasted 80 years. The church could not be rebuilt that easily, and the devotion was in limbo, so to say. And there was clamoring from the public, and of course the Archbishop, aware of the pastoral importance, sort of pressured the Recoletos to do something.
To hand over,
yes. And then the only solution was to give it to the Archbishop.
How long though, Monsignor, from the time the earthquake occurred to the time that they actually decided to transfer the statue of the Black Nazarene?
Almost 80 years.
80?
80 years.
It took that long?
Yeah, because they would not want to part with it.
Nobody, yeah. You would want to really preserve it and keep it there.
There is another thing not known historically to many, that the Recoletos have a second image of the Black Nazarene. So I do not know whether they were sort of thinking we'll give one to the Archbishop and we'll have one for ourselves.
Monsignor, if there are two,
There were two.
where's the second one?
Oh, when San Nicolas de Tolentino was completely demolished during the Second World War, all this disappeared. And it was because this Nazareno is in Quiapo that it was preserved. But the other one disappeared, completely destroyed.
We don't know where the other one is. Okay.
Destroyed.
Monsignor, I hope you don't mind my asking, how certain are we that there were two?
Oh, it's in the records
It's,
of the
it's in
Recoletos.
historical facts,
Yes.
I see.
I have been trying to tell my Recoleto colleagues to come up. You have the background, you have the history.
Yes.
Why are you quiet about it?
Why?
Well, there are certain aspects of this story that are better not said.
I think we'll try to find that out during the break. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Coming up, some religious practitioners say the devotion to the Black Nazarene is bordering on religious fanaticism. Monsignor Sabina Venco shares his thoughts after the break. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. Every year, millions of Filipinos join the procession of the Black Nazarene. The goal, to see the image of the Black Nazarene, hold the rope pulling it, or even touch it. But why do devotees do this every year? Joyce Ilas talked to some of them.
Eugenio Honco has been a Black Nazarene devotee for more than 60 years. Every year for about 5 decades, he would join the Traslacion and help carry the Black Nazarene or pull its carriage. He believes the icon has been miraculous for him and his family.
Tulad nung ma-aksidente ko yung anak ko, siya nagpapaandar ng motor, ako nakaangkas, umislide kami. Nung kapain ko yung tuhod ko gusto yung buto. Siya walang diskasya. Pero parang walang anuman. Yun, ganun lang, wala akong naramdaman sakit.
But Honco, now president of the Hijos del Nazareno Central, says the devotion should go beyond joining the Traslacion, pulling the carriage rope, or touching its clothes. Honco says it should also reflect in the devotee's daily life.
Kasi yung devotion, hindi naman sinabi na pag may hiniling ka sa kanya, pumasang ka eh. Sa paglilingkod, o kaya maski hindi ka naglilingkod, yung bang ano mo sa kanya sa araw na nobinaryo niya, siyam na araw ka nagdonibina, tapos tumatanggap ka ng komunyon.
Martin Sumang has been disabled for 2 decades now due to a spinal injury. But this is not a hindrance to his devotion to the Black Nazarene. Sumang does not join the Traslacion, but he always prays and attends Mass in Quiapo.
Yung pagdarasal lang, ayos na yun. Bukol sa kalooban mo magdasal, kahit na misa ka lang magdasal, matatanggal yung ano mo.
Sumang believes his personal relationship with the Black Nazarene still brought miracles to his life.
Nagkaroon ako ng ano rito sa Tagiliran, yung bukol na malaki. Pa-opera ko sana, sa pagdarasal ko nawala yung ano.
Quiapo Church Rector Ding Coronel explains the tradition of touching the Black Nazarene's clothes was inspired by the Bible.
Si Jesus ay hahawakan yung mata mo, yung labi mo, yung tenga mo. Yung iba naman, hinawakan yung laylayan niya.
But he was quick to add, the Bible also tells of a story of a man who need not touch Jesus just to be healed by him.
Yung sundalong kapitan taga-Roma ay yung malayuan yun, yung long distance healing. Panginoon, hindi ako karapat-dapat na magpatuloy ikaw sa aking bahay. Pero pinagaling niya yung alipin sa malayo. Pwede naman yun.
Like Hongko and Sumang, Coronel reminds faithfuls that what's important most is the depth and sincerity of one's belief to Jesus Christ, and how this is shown in his or her life. Joyce Ila, CNN Philippines.
And still with us here in the studio, theologian Monsignor Sabino Venco. Monsignor, so when should be the feast of the Black Nazarene? Is that something that you were questioning, that it should not be January 9 then?
Well, January 9, we can commemorate the historical transfer. Okay, but the liturgical celebration of the Black Nazarene in the original in Intramuros and even today for the church should be in connection with the Lenten season, particularly the Holy Week.
Right, on a Friday.
Yeah, on the Friday.
Yeah.
That was the tradition concerning that. And here, Mother the Church is insistent on reminding us of one principle regarding the popular devotion and practices of the people. We encourage them. They are expressions of faith, fantastic, inspiring. But we must always harmonize it, never contradicting the liturgy, the official prayer life of the church. And in our liturgy, we have the cycle, the season. So you have Christmas regarding the birth, then you have the Passion and Death during Lent, and then the Easter celebration of the victory in the resurrection.
So, do you see any conflict or possibly problem with Christmas and the Feast of the Nazarene being too close, January 9?
Well, it is an obvious desynchronized optic when even today you see the Black Nazarene in a church and the background is a crib. So we see that, for example, the spreading of this devotion in Tagum, in Davao, in Cagayan de Oro, in Baguio, in Naga. All the places are still in their Christmas setting, so to say. And then there is this certain artificiality in terms of the liturgical time. And I think something can be done about that.
Let's talk about the devotion, Monsignor. Looking back, would you be able to pinpoint or remember a time when the devotion became so big and widespread?
There is a contribution made by the technical inventions of today, whereby people from everywhere now become connected with each other, and there is the dissemination of the news and information and the stories that each one can narrate. That has been made possible technologically, and that is why there is that mass reaction, a surge. I like to use the word surge. We have that in Tacloban, not only tragically, but for me sociologically, yung daluyong ng tao. And this is very clearly mass psychology, mass reaction, because we are dealing with popular religiosity by the people, from the people. And so we deal with millions. And each one has something to say, and that is simply magnified, spread effectively by technology.
Because of obviously their personal experiences with the Black Nazarene. What about the pahalik, Monsignor? What do you think of that? The night before, taken out of Quiapo, brought to the Quirino Grandstand. Overnight, people sleep there para makauna sila sa pahalik. People on wheelchairs, senior citizens, persons with disabilities.
Yes, it's inspiring. And that is simply an extension of the desire to be in physical contact, because the image is the image, and people do not discuss it, but in iconography, the icons in the East, the icons that they have, for them it is not just a picture. In the East, among the Orthodox Christians, their icon is almost like a sacrament. It contains the power. And that's why being close to it, touching it even, kissing it, oh, that's a privilege. And so the pahalik in connection with the Nazareno, it's simply Filipino practicality. We cannot all kiss that during the Traslacion.
Yes.
So be there the night before.
At the Quirino Grandstand. And even attend the Mass early morning,
Yes.
prior to the route. How do you understand though, and tell us or make us understand the fact that there are people who, number one, who die, who get hurt during the procession day, during the Traslacion. Why would anyone in their devotion to the Black Nazarene have to possibly die or even get hurt?
Well, it's a Philippine reality. If there is anything that is worth your time, part of the risk is you can get run over or shot at by someone. If this is important enough for you, the Filipino always has calculated into, into his mind that there are some risk.
And they're willing to take that risk.
And they're willing to take that
for the Black Nazarene.
But because we are used to it already. This is a country where people die every day, left, right.
So, Monsignor, it's as if you're telling us that an individual who's a devotee would possibly say, kahit na ikamatay niya yon, dahil yun ang kanyang panata.
Yan ang kanyang panata.
Sa Black Nazarene.
Yung kamatayan is not that frightening to ordinary people. When you come to think of it, it's part of their daily life. Halimbawa na, yung isang batang tumatakbo at may iniiwasang aso, patay na.
Yeah.
And magbe-birthday pa naman.
Yeah.
Ganun
He
din.
celebrated his birthday,
Yeah.
that boy.
Mag-anak, tutulog. Hindi na. Nasunog ng lahat.
And possibly to some, meron pang kahulugan yung kanilang pagkamatay.
Yes.
Because...
And that is another dimension to this sociologically. Not only that, there is a certain commonplace character to death in the Filipinos' calculation of daily risk. Another aspect is almost a challenge. It's a reality challenge that I prove myself. That, and especially in the context of the men, pulling and then struggling with one another. Yeah. Prove yourself.
And as they say, not just on the day of the Traslacion, not the night before the Traslacion, but every single day of our lives. Maraming salamat po sa inyo, Monsignor Sabina Venco Jr. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us here on The Source. I'm Pinky Webb. You're watching CNN Philippines.
Milyong-milyong mga deboto ang nakikibahagi sa Traslacion ngayong taon. Nagsimula ang prosesyon sa pag-alis ng imahe ng itim na Nazareno sa Quirino Grandstand kaninang alas 5 ng umaga. Tutungo ito sa Quiapo Church. Narito ang ulat ni Rex Remitio.
Maagang dumagsa ang nasa 800,000 deboto dito sa Quirino Grandstand upang tunghayan ang pagsisimula ng Traslacion. Ito yung prosesyon ng imahe ng itim na Nazareno mula dito sa Quirino Grandstand pabalik sa kanyang tahanan sa simbahan ng Quiapo. At ang ibang mga deboto ay naglatag na ng kani-kanilang mga tent at banig kinagabihan pa lamang. At kanilang natunghayan itong morning prayer pagdating ng alas 4 ng umaga na siyang sinundan naman ng pagsisimula ng prosesyon ng imahe ng itim na Nazareno na mas maaga pa nga kung ikukumpara sa mga nakaraang taon na nagsimula kung hindi man alas 6, alas 7 o alas 8 ng umaga. At doon pa lamang ay talagang ramdam na yung pananabik ng mga deboto na makita itong imahe ng itim na Nazareno. Ang iba pa nga ay talagang nagtangkapang tumalon upang makadaupang palad itong imahe na siyang hindi man ipinagbabawal ng simbahan ay mariin naman nilang dinidiscourage upang maiwasan nga itong pagkakaroon ng mga sugatan na siyang umahabot ng daan-daan bawat taon.
Cherry, kadaraan nga lang dito sa harapan ng Bonifacio Shrine ang andas ng itim na Nazareno. At gaya nung nakaraang taon, talaga nga namang di mahulugang karayom ang dami ng tao dito na nakapaligid sa andas. Naging napakabagal din ng andas ngayon. At kitang-kita talaga ang maraming deboto na pilit lumalapit sa andas para makahawak sa lubid o kaya ay makasampa sa andas para makapagpunas ng kanilang panyo sa krus o sa katawan ng Poong Nazareno. Kapansin din ngayon na napakarami sa mga deboto, puro mga kabataan. Marami nga sa kanila na pilit pang umakyat sa andas ay napansin namin puro mga kababaihan din. Ang iba ay binabato na lamang ang panyo sa ang mga ihos na o ang mga mamamasa na siyang nagpupunas ng kanilang panyo sa imahe ng Nazareno. Madaling araw pa lang ay marami ng deboto ang masilang naghintay dito sa may Padre Burgos Street, malapit sa Manila City Hall. Hindi nila ininda ang init ng panahon. Sa nila, hirap daw pero okay lang dahil talagang excited sila nang makita nila ang Poong Nazareno. Marami sa kanila naglatag ng karton sa kalye at doon na umupo. Ang iba doon na rin humiga, natulog habang inaabangan ang pagdating ng itim na Nazareno kanina. Ang iba sa kanila kanya-kanyang naghanap ng lilim. Ngayon, Cherry, bagamat ipinagbabawal ng kapulisan ang nagpagtitinda ng pagkain, lalo na yung mga gumagamit ng matutulis na stick, kapansin-pansin na napakarami pa rin dito ang nagtinda ng fishball, ng mga kwek-kwek at iba pa dito sa may Bonifacio Shrine. Hindi naman sila sinusuway ng mga pulis. Ang isa pong problema na napansin namin ay matapos naman kumain ay kung saan-saan lang itinatapon ng mga deboto ang mga kalat nila. Napakaraming kalat ngayon dito sa may Bonifacio Shrine sa may Padre Burgos Street. Cherry.
Okay, Joyce, dyan din malapit sa iyo nakastasyon no, ang ilang mga emergency responders. Meron namang naitalang mga sugatan na sumama sa prosesyon?
Tama yan, Sherry, no? Kanina pagdaan ng andas, hindi bababa sa, kasabay ng pagdaan ng andas, hindi bababa sa luma ang itinakbo dito sa emergency unit ng Red Cross. Marami sa kanila hinimatay, nawala ng malay, nahirapan huminga dahil nga sa kapal na rin ng tao na sumusunod o sumasabay sa andas ng itim na Nazareno. Ayon nga sa Philippine Red Cross, ngayon, kahit na may mga hinimatay, wala pa rin naman doon silang naitatala na life-threatening incident na nangyari. Sa ngayon din ay rumisponde na sila sa may may kulang-kulang 500 pasyente mula alas 8 kahapon ng umaga hanggang ngayong magtatanghali na. Sa dito, sa ngayon, 7 pa lang ang kinukonsidera nila na major incident. Kabilang na dito yung nahirapan huminga, nag-fracture o bahagyang nasunog ang balat.
Maraming salamat, Joyce Ilas, nag-uulat mula sa Maynila sa bandang City Hall. Samantala, mahigit 6 na kilometro ang tatahaking ruta ng prosesyon ng Poong Nazareno. Mula sa Quirino Grandstand, dadaan ang andas sa Katigbak Drive, P. Burgos hanggang Jones Bridge. Kakanan ito sa Dasmariñas hanggang sa Plaza, Santa Cruz, kakaliwa ng Palanca Street, diretso sa Quezon Boulevard at kakanan sa Arlegui Street. Mula doon, dadaan sa Fraternal Street, kakanan sa Vergara hanggang Duque de Alba, Castillejos at Farnesio Street. Dadaan uli sa Arlegui hanggang sa makarating sa Nepomuceno at kakaliwa sa Aguila Street, kakanan sa Carcer hanggang Hidalgo, Plaza del Carmen, Bilibid Viejo. Dediretso sa Puyat, kaliwa sa Guzman Hidalgo at Bautista Street patungo ng Globo de Oro. Kakanan uli sa Palanca at Villalobos Street, diretso sa Plaza Miranda hanggang makapasok muli sa Quiapo Church.
Narito na ang balitaan sa CNN Philippines. Prosesyon ng itim na Nazareno nagpapatuloy ngayon, daan-daang deboto, nilapatan na ng first aid. Magandang tanghali, ako po si Pinky Webb. Patuloy ang prosesyon ng Itim na Nazareno mula sa Quirino Grandstand hanggang makarating ito sa Quiapo Church. Nag-umpisa ang prosesyon bandang alas 5 ng umaga at sa ngayon nasa bahagi na ng eskolta ang andas ng Itim na Nazareno. 5 milyong katao ang inaasahang dadalo sa Traslacion ngayong taon na inaasahang tatagal ng 22 oras tulad nung nangyari noong taong 2018. Nauna nang idineklara ang suspensyon ng klase sa Maynila, gayon din ang suspensyon ng trabaho sa mga government offices doon. Tinututukan ng puwersa ng CNN Philippines ang nagaganap na traslasyon na kaantabay ang aming mga correspondent sa ruta ng Itim na Nazareno. Nasa Quirino Grandstand ang aming correspondent na si Rex Remitio, nasa Bonifacio Shrine sa bandang Maynila City Hall si Joyce Ilas, si Anjo Alimario naman ay nasa Padre Burgos Avenue, habang sa Escolta Street naman nakaantabay si George Cahiles. Daan-daan na nga po ang nilapatan ng first aid mula kaninang umaga dahil sa samut-saring karamdaman. Nanguna dito ang Philippine Red Cross. Narito ang report ng aming correspondent na si Joyce Ilas.
Hindi bababa sa 10 deboto ng Itim na Nazareno ang isinugod dito sa Emergency Medical Unit ng Philippine Red Cross. Kasabay na rin ng pagdaan ng andas ng Itim na Nazareno sa Padre Burgos Street sa harap ng Bonifacio Shrine. Marami sa kanila nahilo, nahirapan huminga o nawala ng malay. Paliwanag ni Von Ryan Ong, Safety Services Manager ng Philippine Red Cross, marami daw sa mga debotong ito na pilit lumapit sa andas ng Itim na Nazareno na napalilibutan ng libo-libong mga tao. Paliwanag ni Ong, dahil sa init, kakulangan ng hangin at sa matinding tulakan, doon nangihina, nahihirapan huminga, nasusugatan o napipilayan ang mga deboto. Agad naman silang binibigyan ng first aid pagdating dito sa istasyon. Sa ngayon, ayon kay Ong, wala pa naman daw silang naitatala na life-threatening incident. Mula alas 8 kahapon hanggang alas 10 ngayong umaga ay nakapagresponde na raw sila sa mahigit 600 pasyente. Karamihan sa mga pasyente nagpatingin ng blood pressure rate. Ang iba naman nasugatan sa paa dahil nga nakayapak ang marami sa mga deboto. Inaasahan ng Red Cross na tataas pa ang bilang na ito. Noong nakaraang taon kasi, halos 2,000 deboto ang nirespondehan nila sa araw ng traslasyon. Paalala ng Red Cross sa mga nais pang lumahok sa traslasyon mamaya, kumain ng sapat bago sumali sa prosesyon. Mainam din kung mayroong kasama sa traslasyon para may matatakbuhan na kung kailangan ng tulong. At sa mga may karamdaman naman, huwag daw kalilimutang uminom ng gamot. Joyce Ila, CNN Philippines.
Kamustahin natin ang sitwasyon sa Padre Burgos. Naroon ang aming correspondent na si Anjo Alimario. Makibalita tayo sa kanya. Anjo, nakalagpas na ba sa iyo yung andas?
Alam mo, Pinky, walang gutom o pagod ang nakapigil sa ating mga kababayan na matyagang naghintay dito. Makita lamang ang imahe ng Itim na Nazareno na puno na mayani ang kulay maroon at dilaw dito sa ating lugar dito sa Mayloton. At punong-puno ng mga deboto, sabik na makalapit at makahawak sa Itim na Nazareno. Yung iba natin mga kababayan ay nagtyaga na lamang nang makita sa malayuan itong Itim na Nazareno. At hindi nga nila inalintana yung napakainit na sikat ng araw. Karamihan sa kanila nakapapa. Ayos lang daw yan. Ang mahalaga ay makasama sila sa kanilang taunang panata. At kanina nga, Pinky, sakto habang dumadaan sa harap natin yung andas, napakainit tapos biglang bumuhos yung ulan. At sa imbes nga na magsitakbuhan at humanap na masisilungan itong ating mga kababayan, ay mas lalo pa itong nagpasigla sa kanila, mas sinigawan nila yung pagsigaw nila ng Viva Poong Nazareno. At wala nga pinipiling edad o estado sa buhay yung mga nakilahok ngayong araw dito. Lahat sila may kanya-kanyang baon, bit-bit na dasal. At kahit nga may pakiusap itong mga organizer na huwag na magdala ng mga bata, ay marami pa rin tayong nakita mga pamilya na may bit-bit silang mga maliliit na bata. Yung isa nating nakausap, ang sabi sa atin ay sanay na raw silang isama yung kanilang anak. Alam naman daw nila kung paano nila pangangalagaan yung kanilang anak. At wala rin naman daw sila mapag-iiwanan ng anak nila sa kanilang bahay. At kapansin-pansin, Pinky, na naging mahigpit yung seguridad dito sa may ruta nitong traslasyon. Nakakalat yung mga polis na may nakita Ito pa nga tayo mga Manila SWAT na nag-iikot dito sa may area ng ruta ng Traslacion. At may maganda rin tayong na-observe kanina, Pinky, no, na habang paparating, habang umaandar yung andas, ay may nakita tayong mga naka-standby na medical units. And true enough, habang dumadaan na yung andas, ay agad silang nakarespond sa mga kababayan natin, sa mga deboto na nahilo o nasugatan at agad silang nadala sa tent para bigyan ng first aid. At syempre, yung problema pagkatapos ng bawat traslasyon, ng bawat prosesyon ay yung issue ng basura. At sa nakabuntot nga dito sa end part ng prosesyon ng andas ay yung pinagsanib puwersa mula yung MMDA, may nakita tayo mula DPWH, meron ding City Government of Manila, may mga 2 or 3 garbage trucks at agad nilang nililinis itong kapaligiran na pinagdaanan ng andas ng itim na Nazareno. And of course, babalik tayo sa tanong, Pinky, bakit napakarami ba sa mga kababayan natin ang nagiging deboto ng mahal Nazareno at sa kanila rin galing yung sagot. Marami sa kanila ay nabibigyan ng biyaya na sasagot yung kanilang mga panalangin at nababago yung kanilang buhay. Pinky?
Maraming salamat sa iyo, Anjo Alimario, nag-uulat. At mamaya kakamustahin natin ang sitwasyon sa iba't iba pang lugar na dinaanan ng andas ng Poong Nazareno. Milyong-milyong mga deboto ang nakikibahagi sa Traslacion ngayong taon. Alas 5 ng umaga kanina nang umpisahan ng prosesyon mula sa Quirino Grandstand pabalik ng Quiapo Church. Narito ang ulat ni Rex Remitio.
Maagang tumagsa ang nasa 800,000 deboto dito sa Quirino Grandstand upang tunghayan ang pagsisimula ng Traslacion. Ito yung prosesyon ng imahe ng itim na Nazareno mula dito sa Quirino Grandstand pabalik sa kanyang tahanan sa simbahan ng Quiapo. At ang ibang mga deboto ay naglatag na ng kanilang mga tent at banig kinagabihan pa lamang at kanilang natunghayan itong morning prayer pagdating ng alas 4 ng umaga na siyang sinundan naman ng pagsisimula ng prosesyon ng imahe ng itim na Nazareno na mas maaga pa nga kung ikukumpara sa mga nakaraang taon na nagsimula kung hindi man alas 6, alas 7 o alas 8 ng umaga. At doon pa lamang ay talagang ramdam na yung pananabik ng mga deboto na makita itong imahe ng itim na Nazareno. Ang iba pa nga ay talagang nagtangkapang tumalon upang makadaupang palad itong imahe na siyang hindi man ipinagbabawal ng simbahan ay mariin naman nilang dinidiscourage upang maiwasan nga itong pagkakaroon ng mga sugatan na siyang umahabot ng daan-daan bawat taon. Pagkatapos at pagkaalis nitong imahe dito sa Quirino Grandstand ay tumambad naman ang sako-sako mga basura na nagkalat kung saan-saan na siyang agad na mga pinulot ng lokal na pamahalaan ng Maynila. Kung kaya't muling pinapayuhan ng mga otoridad ang mga deboto na maging disiplinado, pulutin ang kanilang mga kalat at bukod pa dyan ay ang hindi pagdadala ng mga ipinagbabawal na bagay sa pangyayaring ito kagaya ng mga backpack, sombrero, alkohol at syempre ang ipinagbabawal na gamot dahil ang kapulisan raw ay hindi mag-aatubili na huliin itong mga umiinom o di kaya gumagamit ng ipinagbabawal na gamot. Inaasahan ng pamunuhan ng simbahan ng Quiapo na magtatagal ng 22 oras itong prosesyon. Ngunit sana'y mas maaga itong matapos upang maaga na ring makabalik sa kanyang tahanan itong imahe ng itim na Nazareno. Rex Remitio, CNN Philippines.
At mula Quirino Grandstand, tumungo naman tayo sa Escolta Street sa Maynila. Naroon ang aming correspondent na si George Cahiles. George, ano na ang sitwasyon dyan?
Wala, Pinky, nakadaan na nga dito ang imahe ng itim na Nazareno kanina pa bago mag-alas 12. At kasalukuyan, ayon sa monitoring dito ng mga pulis, ay tinatahak niya ngayon ang Dasmariñas Street patungo dyan sa Santa Cruz bago makarating dyan sa area ng Quiapo sa Palangka. So kanina nakita natin na mabilis yung naging takbo ng andas, kaya lamang medyo nabalahaw siya dito kanina sa may Jones Bridge dahil gumalaw pa kanan itong andas at naipit siya dito sa area ng may Center Island. So it took a few minutes bago siya muling nakaandar. Pero kasi dito, Pinky, pagbaba mo ng Jones Bridge, nakaabang naman dito yung tinatawag na sungaw. Ito bago itong prayer station na opisyal na inilagay dito sa posisyon ng Poong Nazareno kung saan itong imahe itong Nuestra Señora de la Soledad de Manila, nitong area ng Binondo, ay sumihip dito sa Poong Nazareno. So tumigil siya ng ilang minuto dito sa arko papasok ng Binondo kung saan nandun yung imahe ng mahal na ina at umawit ng Marian Hymn bago ito magpatuloy nga sa posisyon. Kanina halos hindi na natin makita yung imahe ng itim na Nazareno sa ibabaw ng andas kasi talagang napapaligiran siya ng napakaraming tao, napakaraming mga deboto na sumasampa sa andas, lalo nga dito pagbaba dito sa Jones Bridge. At siyempre, nagkatulakan at nagkaipitan. Marami tayong nakita dito na kinuha nito mga emergency personnel, no? Mga rescue personnel at dinala nga doon sa mga first aid stations. Kanina rin, bago dumaan dito yung Nazareno, ay may nahuli yung mga pulis na isang lalaki at isang babae na nakuhanan ng solvent. No? So, dinala dito sa isang community post dito sa may eskolta, itong dalawa, at pinusasan muna ng mga pulis at habang iniimbestigahan. Sa ngayon, Pinky, ay halos wala ng tao dito sa area ng Jones Bridge, papunta nga dyan sa area ng Binondo, at nakalampas na yung mga posisyon at yung mga replika ng itim na Nazareno, Pinky.
Maraming salamat sa iyo, George Cahiles, nag-uulat. Napuno rin ng mga deboto ang ilang kalsada sa Cagayan de Oro City para makiisa sa Traslacion doon. Tinatayang 250,000 katao ang sumama sa prosesyon na tumagal ng halos 3 oras. Nagsimula ang Traslacion sa St. Augustine Cathedral bandang alas 5 ng umaga at natapos sa Nazareno Church bago mag-alas 8. Ayon sa mga otoridad, naging mapayapa ang pagtitipon. Walang katotohanan ang kwentong naging itim ang Nazareno dahil sa isang sunog sa barko. Sa programang The Source, ibinahagi ni Monsignor Sabino Venco Jr. na ang kulay ng imahe ay dahil sa isang uri ng kahoy. Dagdag pa ni Monsignor Venco, ang araw ng pista ng itim na Nazareno tuwing January 9 ay tumutukoy sa bahagi ng kasaysayan ng paglilipat ng imahe.
The Recoleto Fathers from the parish of San Nicolas de Tolentino in Intramuros handed over, or shall we say, surrendered to the Archbishop of Manila, Basilio Sancho, the image of the Black Nazarene. So it was on that date that the historic transfer, ownership, so to say, of the Black Nazarene from the original owners, the Recoletos, came into the possession of the Archbishop, who ordered that it be brought to the parish of San Juan Bautista in Quiapo.
Muling mapapanood ang aking panayam kay Monsignor Venco sa The Source mamayang alas 2 ng hapon at alas 7:30 ng gabi. At yan ang kabuuan ng balitaan ngayong Miyerkules, January 9, 2019. Ako po si Pinky Webb. Hanggang bukas, magandang tanghali.
This is a traffic center on CNN Philippines. Good afternoon, I'm Sheska Buencamino. We'll help you navigate your way through roads in the big city with our partners, the Skyway, the MMDA, the local government of Manila, and Waze, the world's largest community-based traffic and navigation app. Let's get the show on the road by checking EDSA Estrella. On the left portion of your screen, this is the northbound stretch leading all the way towards Shaw Boulevard. Do expect heavy traffic to come from Magallanes all the way towards this destination, so brace yourselves for a very tight drive tonight. On the right side of your screen, this is the southbound lane to Hilpuyat and Ayala Avenues in Makati. You are seeing great traffic conditions as of 5:45 p.m. So better get going now so you won't be late or won't be stuck in traffic this evening. Now, since today is Wednesday, vehicles with license plates ending in 5 or 6 are not allowed on roads affected by the number coding scheme, which is in effect until 8 this evening. From there, we move to Ross Boulevard near CCP Complex in Manila. Right now, you're seeing a low volume of vehicles in this area, but do expect the occasional delays as you approach the intersection. So this is for motorists bound for Pasay City or Luneta this evening. Taking you further south, this is Salas Underbridge along the SLEX. Traffic here in the south of the metro is looking relatively lighter as compared to our previous destinations. you can see that on the left side, vehicles are speeding through the northbound stretch towards Magallanes. Same is true on the right side of your screen. If you're southbound to Naiya, West Service Road or Bikutan, you could expect an easy breezy drive tonight. We continue to cover the extraordinary display of faith and endurance of hundreds of thousands of devotees in today's Traslacion. What you're seeing now are images taken by our teams earlier. The Black Nazarene is weaving through streets of Manila to its home in Quiapo Church. Now the Andas is on Arlegui Street. Barefoot devotees jostling to touch the image and hoping for a miracle. The procession is on its 12th hour. The carriage left the Quirino Grandstand past 5 in the morning. Last year, it took 22 hours for devotees to transport the religious icon from the Quirino Grandstand to Quiapo Church. From Arlegui Street, here's where the image is headed next, all the way back to the Quiapo Church. The procession will then proceed to Fraternal Street, right to Vergara, on to Duque de Alba, left on Castillejos and Farnesio streets, and will pass through again on Arlegui until it reaches Nepomuceno. The Andas carrying the image will then turn left on Aguila Street, right on Carcer, on to Hidalgo, Plaza del Carmen, Bilibid Viejo straight to Puyat, left on Guzman, Hidalgo, and Bautista streets until Globo de Oro. From there, it will turn right on Palanca Street, another right to Villalobos Street, straight to Plaza Miranda, all the way to its final destination, the Quiapo Church. Due to the Traslacion, some roads in Manila are closed today. These include a portion of Katigbak Drive, the northbound lane of Quezon and MacArthur Bridges, and a portion of Taft Avenue. Also, take a look at your screen. We are flashing the routes you have to avoid starting at midnight. These include MacArthur, Jones, and Quezon Bridges, a portion of Ross Boulevard, both lanes of Quezon Boulevard. Over 5 million devotees are expected to join the procession today. Time to get real-time traffic updates through the eyes of Waze. Let's zoom into roads around the Quiapo Church. Now take a look at the Waze map behind me. First, let's put things in perspective. Here you have Quiapo Church right beside it, Plaza Miranda, and here you have the southbound portion of Quezon Boulevard. You can see surrounding roads are closed again, of course, due to the grand procession. So you can expect a lot of people, but not a lot of cars this evening. The only problematic spot that we are seeing is a portion of CM Recto just right in front of the University of the East. But apart from that, again, these are the number of roads closed this evening due again to the Traslacion. Now, traffic conditions do change quickly here in Metro Manila, so we suggest you download Waze on your gadgets. With this app, you can also join our team and become a CNN Philippines Wazer. We'll tell you how in just a bit. Time right now is 5:50 p.m. Here's something for our train commuters. If you're planning to take the LRT1, 29 trains are operating. Meanwhile, 8 trains are running at the LRT2. And over at the MRT, there are 15 trains available on all stations as of 5:45 in the afternoon. Barefoot Black Nazarene devotees are allowed to take the LRT2 today. In a statement, the Light Rail Transit Authority said it accommodates barefoot devotees as part of the annual tradition. Authorities also said inspection is strict to keep passengers safe and secure. Thousands of devotees are expected to take the LRT to Quiapo Church. The last train will leave Santolan Station later at 10. At Recto Station, the last train will leave at 10:30 p.m. News from the regions, around 250,000 devotees joined the annual procession of the replica of the Black Nazarene in Cagayan de Oro City today. The 1.8-kilometer procession from the St. Augustine Cathedral to the Nazareno Church started around 5 a.m. and ended before 8 in the morning. Cagayan de Oro City Police spokesperson Superintendent Mardy Hortillosa says no incidents were recorded during the 2.5-hour procession except for 2 people who fainted. Meanwhile, the Traslacion in Manila City is underway and is expected to last for more than 20 hours. That's it for us this Wednesday. Take care and keep your cool on the road. I'm Cheska Buencamino. Newsnight is next, so keep it here on CNN Philippines.
This is Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines. I'm Pio Ontiveros. Our top stories: the Feast of the Black Nazarene, again turning the streets of Manila into a sea of Catholic devotees. We have the latest on the Traslacion 14 hours into the procession. Hundreds of thousands of devotees carrying and escorting the image of the Black Nazarene from the Quirino Grandstand back to the Quiapo Church in Manila. This annual Traslacion culminates in a series of activities to honor the suffering Christ. Devotees risking life and limb just to see the image, hold the rope pulling it, or touch it, believing their sacrifices will lead to answered prayers and miracles. We are now into the 14th hour of the Traslacion. Paolo Barcelon is at the Quiapo Church where the procession is headed. Paolo, what is the situation like there?
Pia, right now the body of the Traslacion containing the Andas has already reached Arlegui and Castillejo Street, while the spearhead has reached Guzman Corner, Hidalgo Street. Police officials on the ground have said this year's Traslacion is moving at a faster pace. How does that translate in layman's terms? That's 1 hour earlier from last year's movement, because Pia, last year at the same time, the body and the Andas was still at Duque de Alba Street, but right now it's at Arlegui and Castillejos. As of 7 p.m., there are now a total of 487 recorded minor injuries, up 10 from the 4 p.m. count of 477. Earlier this afternoon, PNP Chief Director General Oscar Albayalde inspected the vicinity of the Quiapo Church. Despite this, he said there were no untoward incidents monitored throughout the course of the Traslacion and that the procession was generally peaceful. Meanwhile, as of 7 p.m., crowd estimates here in the vicinity of the Quiapo Church, including portions of Quezon Boulevard and Plaza Miranda, have reached a total of over 800,000 people. All afternoon long and into the evening, the hourly masses centered on the importance of humility and the engagement of the youth, and devotees are still flocking here to Plaza Miranda as the 15th Mass is being celebrated in the Quiapo Church. Yeah.
Well, Paolo, speaking of miracles, the other big miracle here is that year in and year out, every January 9th of every single year, there are no big stampedes, no mass casualties. This is a very organized, in a way, in a sense, a very organized Traslacion.
That's right, Pia, and in fact, they are already taking steps to please address the crowd situation on the ground here. The police officials earlier told members of the media that at least the clearing of some of the roads and that the discipline of some of the devotees, especially in helping to clear the wires that are hanging, especially in the narrower roads, have helped to the said faster pace. But what does not change right now, Pia, is that there's still a lot of devotees who are leaving trash on the ground or on the vicinity of the parade route. Even here in Plaza Miranda, some people are already sleeping because of the trash that's there. So that leaves to be a miracle that's to be desired, Pia.
Paolo Barcelon there reporting from the route of the Nazareno, or the Traslacion procession. We have our Makoy Popiok on the phone. He is at the San Sebastian Church. Makoy, what is happening there?
Yeah, the Traslacion is moving faster than last year. It is expected to arrive here at San Sebastian Church near Mendiola in Manila at around 7:30 to 8 in the evening. That's about 3 hours earlier than last year. I was also here at San Sebastian Church last year. The Traslacion arrived here an hour before midnight. So clearly, if the Traslacion continues to move in this pace, it may reach Quiapo Church hours earlier than last year. Hundreds of devotees are now here at San Sebastian Church waiting for the arrival of the image of the Black Nazarene. The Traslacion will stop here for the traditional dungaw. The image of Our Lady of Mount Carmel de San Sebastian will be taken outside the church on a platform where it will have a peek of the image of the Black Nazarene on the adjacent street. Church officials explained this is a religious courtesy where a patron saint of another church or a patron saint of a church along the procession's path welcomes the arrival of another saint. This has been observed since 2014. San Sebastian Church officials tell us Our Lady of Mount Carmel will be wearing her prima vestida, a centuries-old dress adorned with precious materials like gold and other gemstones. There is an ongoing prayer vigil now as the church waits for the arrival of the Traslacion. Pia.
Makoy Popioko there reporting from the San Sebastian Church. A number of devotees rushed to first aid stations after they fainted or experienced difficulty in breathing or were injured during the Traslacion. Joy Silas tells us more.
As the carriage of the Black Nazarene passed by Padre Burgos Street in front of the Bonifacio Shrine, at least 10 devotees were also rushed to the Philippine Red Cross's emergency medical unit. Some were injured, fainted, or had difficulty in breathing. Among them, 15-year-old Christopher Hilario. He had just climbed the andas and was on his way down when somebody pulled him, causing him to lose his balance.
Pagpuntong ko po, inila po ako pababa. Dinaganan po ako ng isa. Napapahan po sa panga. Bumagsak na po.
The doctor asked Hilario to go to a hospital and check for possible concussion. Philippine Red Cross Safety Services Manager Von Ryan Ong explains, many patients were among those who tried to get near or climb the carriage of the Black Nazarene, which is surrounded by thousands of people.
Yung bugso na nakita si Nazareno, gustong makahawak sa imahe ng Nazareno, doon po nangyayari. Yung crowd talaga pwedeng naitutulak sila kung saan man.
Of the hundreds they responded to, many had their blood pressure checked. Many devotees were also wounded because they were walking barefoot. To prevent health-related problems during the Traslacion, the Red Cross reminds the public to be physically and mentally ready before joining the Traslacion. They should eat well and take their medicines if they have illnesses. It would also be better to have a companion during the Traslacion, to have someone to help you in case of emergency. As for Hilario, despite what happened to him, one thing is for certain. He would still join the Traslacion in the next years.
Panata po eh.
Joyce Ila, CNN Philippines.
And that's it for tonight. Thank you for your time. I'm Pio Ontiveros. See you again tomorrow for Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines.
This is the newsroom on CNN Philippines tonight. 16 hours and counting. Where's the image of the Black Nazarene now? We have the latest on the ongoing Traslacion. Hello and welcome. I'm Ruth Cabal. Thanks for joining us. Hundreds of thousands of devotees carrying and escorting the image of the Black Nazarene from the Quirino Grandstand back to the Quiapo Church in Manila. We are in the 16th hour into the procession. Makoy Popioko joins us live on the line from San Sebastian Church in Manila. So, Makoy, can you tell us what's the latest? Where's the andas now?
Hundreds of people have been waiting for the arrival of the here in Sebastian Church near Mendiola in Manila, and I'm here at the platform of San Sebastian Church, where the image of Our Lady of Mount Carmel of the Traslacion. This is the traditional dungaw, or a religious.
We'll get back to Makoy Popioko. We're having some technical difficulties with his phone line right now. He's saying that the andas, or the Black Nazarene, is in the area of the San Sebastian Church. Now take a look at this striking picture showing a sea of yellow, maroon, and white. Devotees are seen pushing forward for a chance to touch or wipe their towels on the Black Nazarene.
You can check out more compelling images on cnnphilippines.com/live. For many devotees, joining the Black Nazarene procession is a tradition, but through the years, authorities also cleaning up tons of trash left behind. Our Rex Remitio reports.
Over 800,000 devotees flocked to the Quirino Grandstand to witness the start of Traslacion this morning. The Traslacion is the procession of the Black Nazarene image from Quirino Grandstand back to its home in Quiapo Church. Some devotees patiently waited by spending the night inside a tent or sleeping out in the open with their carton and plastic sheets. But just like in previous years of Traslacion, there are things that are turning out to be a tradition. That includes the heaps of trash scattered around after the carriage of the Black Nazarene's image left the grandstand. This one in front of the grandstand looks like a wasteland, with stench coming from some bottles filled with urine. Food containers, plastic bottles, plastic and cartons used as sleeping mats, and slippers of some devotees. It seems almost no one among the devotees bothered to pick up the trash. Aside from, of course, the scavengers who make a living out of the waste of others. Most devotees continue walking, chatting, or eating breakfast with their friends and family. That's why the MMDA and local government of Manila came to the rescue, cleaning the mess left by devotees. Armed with their brooms and dustpans, street sweepers swoop down on the garbage. They even use a truck with rolling brooms underneath to remove the dust and any remaining trash. Last year, the MMDA collected a total of 385 tons of mixed garbage, which was a tenth more than the trash collected the previous year. Rex Remitio, CNN Philippines.
And that's the newsroom tonight. Thanks for watching. I'm Ruth Cabal. Good evening.